Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is supposed to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified now or post a new video. So if you're new to this channel and you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book. So if you haven't yet got your copy of this, please go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble or Waterstones and go and grab a copy, because it's 47 different asexuals across the asexual spectrum giving their views and advice about love, life and sex. And so this is a really informative read and includes my personal story too. So to get into today's video then, it's all about, do age gap relationships really work if you're asexual? How do they work? How does it work, an age gap relationship? And so I'm here to give you a little bit of insight into this. So me personally, I'm asexual in sexual orientation. I have the absence of sexual attraction. Some people are like, what does that even mean? Well, for me personally, it means, like I said, I don't experience sexual attraction, so I don't get the need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse. Doesn't matter how much I love a guy, how much I care about a guy, how much I kiss a guy or cuddle a guy, I do not want sex with him. It doesn't make me want sex, right? I love to kiss, but I don't want sex, right? And so I lack sexual attraction, the need, urge, or want for partner sexual intercourse. Obviously, this makes getting a relationship very, very difficult, considering we're 1% of the population. Now, if you are a sex favorable asexual, or sex positive asexual, or sex indifferent asexual, then you're going to have a lot more kind of easier time, in the sense you're going to have more people available to you for a relationship, because the general population of the world still loves to have sex overall, right? There's lots more heterosexual people, lots more people wanting sex than don't want sex, right? And so therefore, if you are people wanting sex then don't want sex, right? And so therefore, if you are sex favorable, sex positive, don't mind having sex, you're much more likely to be able to get into a relationship, right? But obviously you need to get into a healthy relationship for you, not just any relationship. And how much sex you're able to tolerate or don't mind having compared to the average sexual person might be very, very different. With this in mind, when you think about a relationship, an age gap relationship, if you're asexual, what does that even mean? So an age gap relationship obviously could mean anything from, like, well, obviously if anyone's a year different, that's an age gap. But when they talk about age gap relationships in general, I think most people think about it being about 5 years or more difference. So it's more of a significant difference than just 1 or 2 years. And age gap relationships, traditionally, a lot of the time, guys are the older one and females are the younger one. This is how it's been seen for years. It's seen like very much still in society that if it's a guy with a younger girl, oh, you've got a hottie there, look what you've pulled. That's the type of attitude, But still, there's some guys with much, much younger girls. I've been watching a YouTube show recently where the guy's like 40 and his girlfriend is 18. So that's like 22 years difference, and obviously very, very different generations, right? So that is quite a huge age gap, but they go on really well and they care about each other and look like they love each other. So you know what I mean? It's really important that you understand that love is different for different people, and age is a number, right? And it's what age of person suits you best, right? That could actually literally be the fact you like someone younger than you in general, older than you in general. It could just be that you find a person that happens to be younger or older than you, much younger or older than you, that you just click with and you want to be with, maybe for the rest of your life, right? And so there's a lot to take into consideration with age gap relationships. I personally am an asexual cougar. I don't have any bad connotations with the word cougar. I see it as a woman who's empowered and knows that she likes younger guys and who really, is looking for her cute cub. if you know what I mean. So for me personally, because I'm an asexual cougar, I'm absence of sexual attraction. So I look for younger guys to have a romantic relationship with, kissing, cuddling, holding hands, spending time with, chatting with, you know, having pretty much a normal relationship in the sense of kissing and cuddling and stuff like that, but no sex, right? But for me, I'm not interested in sex, like you probably gathered, or I'm not interested in marriage and I'm not interested in kids and I like to live separately. So that's quite a lot of things for anyone to take in who's possibly thinking about entering into a relationship with me. You know, it's a lot of things. It's not a normal situation. Most people want some or one or two of those things in a relationship. So for age gap relationships, you've not just got the age to think about, you've got to think about the different lifestyles you're leading to that person, think about the different life stages you're at, right? But one thing you shouldn't make the assumption is just because someone's older, for example, that they are at a different life stage, as in an older life stage to you. So you could make that assumption and you might be valid, right? So some older women or older guys, they might have been married, got divorced, had kids, their kids are grown up, and you might be younger than the actual children, right? And that might cause some friction between you and their children. You might think, I don't want to be a mother or a father, you know, and so it might cause a lot of kind of uncertainty, difficulty, and uncomfortability. So you've got to be prepared before you get into an age gap relationship of all the different types of things that are going to crop up. You're never going to be prepared for it fully, but you have to understand what you're letting yourself in for and be prepared for it. You have to understand that people that are different ages will have different life experiences. This can be complementary though. So for me personally, I like younger guys in their 20s predominantly. That's my ideal age group, 21 to 24. 24, middle 20s is really good for me because I think people, the guys that are a bit more mature then, they kind of know what they want. 21 years, they're still at university. They still haven't quite worked out their career path, and they usually haven't got the money to kind of get involved in a relationship, and they haven't really fully thought through what their future holds. But for anyone you're thinking about getting into a relationship with, no matter what age they are, you need to be asking them questions. You know, so what does your ideal type of relationship look like? Now, I've asked guys in their 20s this, and I've asked guys at their early 30s this, right? And you'd be surprised that some of the guys who are in their early to mid 20s know a lot more than the guys that are in their early 30s. It's kind of like the guys who are younger seem to know more what they want than the guys that are older, which doesn't usually compute. But yes, that's the case in my experience. So just because someone's a certain age doesn't really mean anything. It's more like the type of person they are. So I've met guys in their early 20s, like 21. I've met some guys who were so immature at 21. You would think they were still 17 or 18, maybe even younger than that, with their behavior and their attitude and their mindset. Then I've met other guys at 21, 22 years old, and they're really responsible. They're there trying to take care of other people. They're there trying to work really hard, provide a financial future for themselves, maybe for their families, if their kind of culture means they pay for their family as well. And they're like really nose to the grindstone, really involved in community projects, really helping others. And so they're very advanced for their years, if you like. So it's not about the age per se, it's about the type of person that you are thinking about getting into a relationship with. But you might be like me, you might like specifically an older person, or me, in my case, younger person, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I have to let you know there's nothing wrong with liking younger or older people. Obviously, they have to be legal age, right? You know, we're not talking about people that are under sexual age. Obviously, if you're asexual, you usually don't want sex, but still you would wait to be in a relationship, or you should really wait to be in a relationship with someone who is going to be of of an age where they could have sex. You know, that's kind of more when they're thought of by society as an adult, right? Although there are people that get into relationships with like 15. I got into a relationship with a guy who was 18 when I was 15 years old. He wasn't a good guy for me to be in a relationship with, but it does happen, right? That was like 3 years age gap, okay? So yeah, so you really have to go by the person, their circumstances. I personally like 21 and up. I feel a bit uncomfortable any younger than that, to be honest. You know, for me, 21 and up is kind of like an adult. They know their own mind, or they should do by then, at least to a certain extent. And kind of know their own, have a sense of self and where they're headed in their life and have their own life more sorted out, you know. So you really have to be understanding that age gap relationships, you know, people can be at different stages in their life, but not necessarily. Like, you might find a guy, for example, I might find a guy who is in his early 20s, say he's 24, he's left university, he's got his own place, he's got a job, he's kind of settled in that, he's got some mates, he's got some hobbies and some interests, and now he actually does want to settle down, right? You can get guys like that, right? And then there's me, and I'm kind of like, I live a very upside down life where I'm up till like, it's currently gone 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'm up here and I'm bubbly and bright, and you know, and I'm talkative at this time of night, and you know, I'm there listening to dance music sometimes, watching movies till the early hours of the morning, and you would think that my lifestyle was really his age group's lifestyle and vice versa. So do not be fooled by the fact that, you know, the person's birth certificate age might not be reflective of their actual way they think and their lifestyle and their mindset. You know, for me, it's very difficult to find, well, I can't really find a guy who's anywhere near my birth certificate age that would live my type of life I do. And I'm not aesthetically attracted to guys anywhere near my birth certificate age. I don't even like talking about my birth certificate age because, as far as I'm concerned, it's nothing like who I am. I have like a mindset of like a 21-year-old. So I trained my brain using neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, years ago, to reprogram my mind to be like I'm 21 in my mind, which means I can do anything a 21-year-old can do. This is what goes in my mind. Obviously, I've had an ankle break this year. I've had a lot of stress and upset. So I kind of like thinking, yeah, okay, I can't do as much at the moment. But obviously, if a 21-year-old had broken their ankle and had a lot of trouble like I'd gone through, then they would be in the same position as well. So age really doesn't have anything to do with it in that sense, you know. But so yeah, so you're going to come up. So things that are going to happen in age gap love, right? First of all, you've got to understand what you're letting yourself in for. Like, why would you want a young or older person? What's the benefits to you? How do you feel about it? You know, in terms of physicality, in terms of intellect, in terms of spirituality, in terms of romantic feelings. How do you feel about it? Obviously, if you are a younger person and you're getting with an older person, the other older person is sexual and you're asexual, you've got to understand that. You know, they might actually want a lot of sex. It's a huge myth that older people don't want sex, right? I am in a lot of different dating groups, including dating groups that aren't for asexuals. There's a lot of older guys in them that I'm really not interested in romantically or aesthetically. I'm just not attracted to them at all, right? And you know, and some of these guys are very horny guys, very into sex. So you've got to understand that just because you're with an older guy doesn't mean to say he's not going to want sex from you, right? And you've got to understand that an older person is going to usually have an older body. Not necessarily. My skin's quite smooth and young, I have to say. Apart from my hands are older. But my hands are just older because I get dermatitis on them. But, you know, like in general, my skin is really, really, really soft and young. Really soft and young, most of it. See, the hands not, but the rest is. So yeah, so you've got to understand that, you know, you're going to be with an older person or younger person. They are going to be kind of like different skin, you know, like different. Probably their body's going to be at a different stage, their mind's going to be at a different stage, their lifestyle, but not necessarily. Like, I personally like music of the 90s and upwards, which suits a guy in his 20s because that's like his era. Right, I'm not really interested in music beyond below that much. I do play some stuff occasionally because for me, when I first started enjoying music and liking music, I was 15 years old, and my ex got me into like certain types of music that I hadn't listened to before, and a lot of them are kind of like 90s stuff. So for me personally, my kind of music life began with 90s music. So that's kind of my era. So I really relate to guys who are in their 20s like that because that is the same era as my era. As far as I'm concerned, my music life began with 90s music. So that's like the oldest I go back, which is usually what a lot of guys who I meet, you know, they're into the the 90s music as well. That's kind of the furthest they go back in modern day stuff. Now I'm really into modern day music. I'm into like reggaeton, Latin music, dance music. You know, I can have trance or techno, anything like that. So I'm really modern with my music. A lot of movies I like are very young movies, like superhero movies, kids movies, action, some action thrillers. So these are all type of really young movies. So for me, all my taste is very similar to and the same as guys in their 20s. So this is why I get on so well with guys in their 20s. So for you, you've got to decide like what's your musical taste, what sort of movies do you like, what sort of hobbies and interests would they suit a younger person, or would they be more like that of an older person? Right, because you might like the Beatles, you might like going for leisurely strolls in the countryside, you might just taking it like very slow pace, very quiet. You know, that might suit an older person who's that way inclined with their mind and their lifestyle. For me, I prefer to live a high octane energy life, full of vibrant music, full of energy, full of noise, even though my place is very quiet where I live. And, you know, and I have a very vibrant, energetic, bubbly life, which usually suits a guy more in his 20s. Actually, he usually says that I've got more energy than he has most of the time, you know? And so, despite fibro, so, you know, for me personally, my interests and hobbies and stuff like that usually comparable to guys in their 20s. So I have the most in common with guys in their 20s. I my mindset's more like with guys in their 20s. I feel most comfortable physically close to guys in their 20s, and I'm just not comfortable with guys anywhere near my birth certificate age, right? It just makes me really uncomfortable. I feel like we're 20 odd years apart in my mind. That's how it feels. And it's kind of like, you know, I just don't want to go there. It just doesn't feel nice to me. It feels like they're a father, not an actual partner person. I was just, not literally, but it grosses me out. So you've got to find someone, if you want an age gap relationship, who's really into the age you are. So if you're an older person, you have to find someone who's into older people. If you're a younger person, you know, and you like an older person, you need to find an older person that's into younger people, right? And so it's very, very important that you understand the differences can be very vast in musical taste and movies and so like that, or they could be very similar. Right? Don't take it for granted that just because someone's a certain age, they are a certain thing. What really annoys me is when people, young guys, expect me to act like an old woman. And it's like, I'm not, you know. One guy who video dated with me on Facebook dating, he's like, can I see your room? I said, yeah, it's full of cuddly toys. It looks like a teenager's bedroom. And he's like, oh. And I'm like, well, don't expect me to act like my birth certificate age, because I just don't. I'm not that type of person, you know. I think he was expecting like me to look like an old woman or something, mind you. My birth certificate age isn't even middle aged, so you know what I mean. So I am really young anyway. But you know, it's just like you know, you have to understand that some of the expectations of people of a different age might be different to how you actually are. And you might end up being younger than them in personality, lifestyle, and soul, and they might end up being older than you. Personally, I think my soulmate, Indian asexual soulmate, is actually older in his soul, because I'm younger in my soul. I think he's older in his soul. You know, he might even like some older music than I do and some older stuff, because I just feel that would kind of balance us out in a little way. And, you know, but I need to like younger stuff too, because I couldn't be with a guy just likes older stuff. It just would be horrible for me. You know, I really want a guy who's into roller coasters, theme parks, zoos, aquariums, go out for meals to the cinema, all those type of things that I love and adore, right? So again, you know, hobbies, interests, where you go on dates, where you go on day trips together, where you go on holiday. You have to be kind of like seeing if that person or people or whatever person or people you're interested in being in a relationship with, if you're monogamous, one person, you're polyamorous, more than one person, you really have to be finding out what things you have in common, like hobbies, interests, that type of thing, how your relationship would work on a day-to-day basis. You obviously have to think long term, like would your friends and family accept the fact you're with a person who's got a significant age gap to you? Right? You don't want to be with this person for 6 months. You introduce them to your parents. It's like, oh, well, I don't want anything to do with them. I'm not interested. They're hugely different age to you, and it's not appropriate. So stop being with them. You know, you don't really want to run into that type of problem. And if you do, you have to be prepared for it. Would you be prepared to stick up to your family and say, this is my person of choice and I don't care what you think because I'm with them and that's it, and you need to accept it. Would you be prepared to go that far? Now, my parents, both my parents, they know I'm going to be with a younger guy in his 20s. I've told them that ages ago, years ago. They all know that. Both of them, I say that all, both of them know that, right? They accept it. They accept to the point now where they think some guys are too old for me, right? So they know that ideally I want 21 to 24. Or 21 to 23, it used to be 21 to 24 really now, but they said probably 23, 24 would be better because the guy would be a bit older and know what he wants more, which I do actually agree with them. But they even knew a guy I liked who was 28, but they're like, no, he's too old for you. So my parents are really, really good like that. I have to give them huge credit for that. Big shout out and love to my parents for that, because it really means a lot to me, but because I like Indian guys, a lot of Indian guys, mothers, don't like the fact of my age, birth certificate age, and so like the guy who's going to be with me, he needs to be able to say to his mum, look, I've chosen this girl, this person, and she's the one for me regardless of her age. I don't care about it. I just want you to be happy for me because I'm happy being with her, and that's who I've chosen. But it requires a really strong person to do that. And any age gap relationship requires you being really, really strong. You're going to have people that are going to criticize you. You're going to have haters. You're going to have people saying really nasty stuff about you. And you're also going to have people trying to take away one of you from the other relationship. Now, this might seem odd, but what people can do, they can get very jealous and they can try to split you up by doing the opposite. So for example, in the YouTube video that I watched recently, the YouTube videos, I should say, of this girl that's 18, the guy that's 40. I think they're a little bit older now because they've been together a couple of years, I think. When they first got together, she was 18, he was 40, right? And so I think she's probably 19 or 20 now. And anyway, they were saying that, that people were really heavily criticizing them. And then in private message, he's got his mates then, saying, oh, she got a friend. And she's got her mates saying, oh, yeah, he's not bad looking, is he? Wouldn't mind him type thing. And so, they creep into the conversation like they really would like to be with that person themselves. And so they're private messaging, trying to wheedle their way into the life of the other person that person's dating. It's very cunning. I have to tell you something as well. A phenomenon that I've noticed is you always become more attractive usually when you're in a relationship with someone else. So you have to know that other people are going to come after you, some of them on purpose, because they want what they can't have. And as soon as you become unavailable, it makes them more attracted to having someone, who they can't usually get. And it's like a challenge for them. So you have to understand that that's going to happen. And you have to be prepared for family and friends. You prepared to tell your family, friends about this person. You can't keep them a secret forever. You shouldn't want to keep them a secret. Like, I'm on Facebook dating, the amount of guys on there that want an older woman, right? But they want to keep her secret. They don't want people to know. They just want secret sex with an older woman. It's like their fantasy. So I have to urge you as well, if you're an asexual person, you're on dating sites, and particularly if you're an older woman, right? In my experience with younger guys, they are literally wanting sex with the older woman. They like being with an older woman. They like hanging out with them and talking to them. But if it comes to showing you to their family, most of them will not do that. Most of them just want secret sex and a secret rendezvous and secret relationship or secret texting, because it just kind of validates them. It makes them feel good. And also they want this sex. They kind of like, it's a dream, a fantasy of theirs. So you have to understand that for some people who are younger, it's a fantasy and it's not actually the thing they want in reality for a long time. Some of them want, a lot of guys, younger guys, for example, want fun with an older woman. In other words, fun is sex. So if you're an asexual person, think, oh, fun, that's great. We can play a board game together, or we could, maybe hang out and watch some cartoons or something. That's not the type of fun sexuals are talking about. The fun sexuals are talking about is usually having sex and doing sexual acts and sexual stuff. So you have to understand that that's where they're coming from when they say fun, right? So, you have to be prepared for these type of things, right? You need a person who's really strong, who knows exactly what they want, who's comfortable with an age gap relationship, and who actually damn well knows that they're into older people or younger people, and who's always been like that for a very long time usually, and who really wants that person, and ideally someone who's already told their family, right? I like if a guy has said, look, to their family, I like older women, it's just something I'm into, just want you to know, so don't be worried if I come back with an older woman, it's just the way I am. You know, I'm just telling you now, right? Because this is the way it should be. You shouldn't be having your life ruled by your parents. I love my parents dearly, but I definitely don't let them rule my life. I do what the hell I want when I want. Believe me, it infuriates them, but that's what I do. But that's what I do. You know, and I'm very much like that, because I don't believe that you should be living the life of your parents. You should be living your own life, right? Your own life, right? So many people are sad and lonely in this world, and they might actually like a different age to them, but they're so scared of going for it because of what people will say, because of judgment. At the end of the day, you get one life. If you like someone who's older and younger than you, don't hold back. Be prepared and go all in, and stop faffing around worrying about what people think and are going to judge. Just know that it's going to come, right? And be prepared for it. Be prepared to stand up for your partner, your person. Be prepared to tell them confidently, this is who I've chosen to be with. This is who I'm going to be with. I'd like you to accept them, because it would make both our lives easier and better, basically, you know. But if you're not prepared to do that, I'm still going to be with this person anyway, because I love them and adore them. And it's a really good idea, if you've got an age gap relationship as well, to tell your family and friends what's good about that person, so they can see that that person makes you really happy. A lot of the time with age gap relationships, the reason why family and friends get worried is because they think, oh, they're two different generations, they'll have nothing in common, they'll be suffering in the relationship, and and something's not right, there's some problem or something, But if you actually tell your friends and family, look, this person is wonderful, I'm so glad I've met them, they make me really happy, I was feeling a bit low and lost without someone in my life, I'm okay as I am, but I really wanted someone in my life, this person came into it, they're everything I've ever wanted and more. And they're just incredible, and they're very kind, and they're very caring, and they're very generous with their time, and they love me implicitly, and they make me feel good about themselves. So I'd really love it if you accepted them into the family. I know that you're not going to be very comfortable necessarily the age gap to begin with, but I really I'm saying that I'd like you to be a part of our life, and I want you to accept my partner, because they mean so much to me, and I know you love me, so please love my partner as well, because they're basically a part of my life now, and they're who I want to spend the rest of my life with, if you do. And that's the way it is. But I'd like your acceptance. If I don't get it, fair enough, but I really like it. It would make us both happy, and this person makes me happy. Like I said, one of the things with friends and family, they worry that you're not happy. If you can prove through your words and your actions, the way you talk about the person, that you actually love them, that this person's good for you, they're less likely to worry. They worry when there's discrepancies and there's uncertainties between you both, and when they can't see how it's going to work. And some people think, oh, by being secretive with that older or younger person, that they're actually helping the situation. They'll reveal it at the right time. That's actually not helping, because by the time like 6 months has gone, the family and friends will feel deceived. They'll be like, you've been keeping this person from us. This person is so good for you. Why did you feel the need to hide them away? Why? And it'll make them question if the person's any good for you or not. So it's much better to say, hey, I'm dating this older person or this younger person. Not sure where it might lead to yet, but I'm really hopeful. I just wanted you to know, right? Or I'm in a relationship with this person now. We've just started being together. I'd like you to accept them because I love them. There is an age gap, but that's what I want. I'm happy with that. They make me happy. I make them happy. And so I want you to accept it. If the person doesn't accept it, then that's it, isn't it? You cannot put your family and friends, though, above your partner and be like, oh, right, if your family and friends are like, oh, no, it's not acceptable, right? Then, that's why it's better to say it early on, because if you can't stand the friction between your family and friends and that person, you think that your family and friends are never going to accept them, it's better to just quit and part ways there and then, rather than spend 6 months hiding them and then your family and friend don't accept, but you're so attached and you're torn both ways, right? You've got to be able to hack the fact your family and friends might not accept that person, none of them might accept it, or one of them might accept it, or part of them, your family and friends might accept it, the other part not. So you've got to understand this. You've got to be prepared for this. You've got to be a very strong person to be in an age gap relationship, because you are going to get a lot of friction from the outside world, particularly more than the inner world, right? And you've got to know that that person's the right person for you. Want them in your life, right? My best asexual friend, they are in an age gap relationship with their partner. And there's like, there's like, I think it's over 14 years difference in age with them. Something like that, I think. Yeah, something like that. And so, they're in their late 20s. The other person has just gone 24. So they're in their late 30s. Sorry, they look like they're in their 20s, and their person is 24. So, there's an age gap there. It's about 14 years, I believe. So, but they love each other implicitly. It works out really, really well. Their partner, the younger partner, wasn't looking for someone older at the time, but their partner, my best friend, is really, really young looking, and young for their birth certificate age. And so they make such a beautiful couple, and they it suits them really well, and they each add stuff to the relationship. The younger person's got different experience, the older person's kind of more responsible and kind of the kind of caretaker a little bit more in terms of emotions and support. And and I just think it's a really good relationship in that way. They both love each other implicitly, both asexual, non-binary, both made to be together, and it's just really, really good. So that is a real prime example of how it can work out really, really well. And so, if you're an asexual person, you have to understand as well that a lot of asexuals are in their 20s. And if you're an older asexual and you are saying, well, I'm never ever going to be with someone younger because that's just weird, that's fine. That's your perspective. And that's okay. But you have to understand you are cutting a lot of options out. If you are genuinely uncomfortable with being a younger person, definitely don't be with one. But if you're just doing it because society's, like, oh, you can't be with a younger person, you're worried about what society thinks, but really you might like to try it, then try it. You don't have to go by what society thinks. We are so limited in numbers that if you like a different age to yourself, or you don't mind it, or you even would like to try it, then go for it, right? Don't let anything hold you back. You have to understand asexual love is so super rare to get. If you meet a person who you love and adore and you think's right for you, and you might have to travel halfway around the world to be with them, right? Or might just need to travel to another city to be with them, right? But true, pure asexual love is the best type of love you can get. And so you shouldn't let age hold you back, right? And if you really want to be with a person, you should make it happen. Don't make excuses, but make it happen. I have been trying to find my asexual Indian soulmate now since 2014. I have still not given up, even though I've been through a lot of rubbish, as you've seen on this channel, with guys that just haven't worked out. Even though I thought my asexual soulmate I found this June, right? That was really difficult for me because I honestly thought he was, but I got it completely wrong. Well, maybe I didn't. Maybe it's one my soulmate in another life completely that didn't work out then either. But anyway, it's led me to self-reflection, life lessons, all that lot. So, I just think it's important that you live your dreams, and that you get into a relationship that makes you happy regardless of age. But if you definitely like someone who's younger than older, then you shouldn't be listening to society and trying to go with something else, because I can't force myself to be attracted to older guys. I'm just not attracted to them. I find it really repulsive. I mean, there was a guy who was like 45, older than me in birth certificate age, on Mingle 2, who started talking to me yesterday, and like his body is just so old on his chest. He looks like he looks more like he's, I don't know, 60 odd or something. I was just like, no, please, I just can't be with an older guy. It's just not suitable for me. It's just like, it's just not good for me. And so, yeah, I'm younger than 45 now. So, yeah, it's like, it's really, you know, like not suitable for me because I'm just not aesthetically attracted to a guy like that. It just doesn't do anything for me. I don't feel comfortable being physically close to guys anywhere near my birth certificate age or older. You know, I just don't. Usually, you know, it's just like real big no for me and a huge turn off and gross for me and repulsive, right? I just don't like being close to older guys. I feel really uncomfortable. And so, you know, some guys know from a very young age that they like older women. They might have had a crush on their teacher, for example, or someone's mum, their friend's mum or something, you know? So they usually know from a young age. But if you just like, for me personally, I didn't know that I like younger guys. When I was, like I said, when I was 15, my boyfriend at the time was 18. When I was 16, the guy I was with then was at least a couple of years older than me as well. The first long-term relationship I was in, a guy was a year older than me. And I always thought I liked guys that were the same age as me in birth certificate age or a bit older. That's what I thought I liked. And then my last long-term ex, I was with for a total of 8.5 years. He was 3.5 years younger than me, but he looked about 10 years younger than his age, if that. And he was very young looking. And after that, I just was not interested in guys anywhere near my birth certificate age. I just wasn't attracted to them usually anymore. I mean, obviously there was a heterosexual guy dating in 2017. He was older in birth certificate age than me. That was very strange, but he looked younger in his face than his birth certificate age. So, you know, that was interesting and unusual for me, but felt a bit weird to say the least. Cuddling a guy's older like that, it's very odd for me. Felt very weird. Felt like cuddling an old bloke. It's really weird. But that's just because I'm into younger guys. I'm not really attracted to older guys, you know. I'm just not. And it's kind of weird when you look back and there was no indication years ago that I liked. Was there no indication I like younger guys? Actually, that's probably not totally true. Because when I was 14 years old, there was this guy like me. I think he was 12. I think he was 12 and I was 14, something like that. So like a 2-year age gap. So I think, yeah, 1 or 2 years younger than me at school. There was another guy as well who was like a year, I think, younger than me. So there was 1 or 2 years younger than me back then. But, you know, I don't really consider that a huge age gap, really. But yeah, so I like guys so much younger than me now, birth certificate age, in that early 20s to mid 20s, ideally. So yeah, so you've got to be thinking about all these things. You've got to be thinking like, how would an age gap relationship work in reality? Like, what jobs would you do? Would one of you be studying, the other not be studying? Would one of you be in a student accommodation, the other be in your own house? You know, can your partner drive if they're younger than you? Can you drive? You know, people assume because I'm on the older one that I can drive when I can't, quite frankly. And I would need the younger guy to come and drive to me to see me. So it's just complete role reversal for me. Like, I just consider myself so young. It's just like younger than most guys in their 20s. So, you know, but if you're asexual and you're thinking about getting into a relationship with a sexual person, you have to understand that, you know, it's well known that younger guys, for example, like a lot of sex. But like I said, don't make that assumption that just because a guy's older, they don't like a lot of sex, because they really do as well. And you might think that an older person is wise for their years and is going to be healthy for you or healthier than a younger person. That's not necessarily true at all. It could be the exact opposite, because some younger people, they might be a virgin still, they might never have had sex in their life, they might hardly have any relationship experience, and while that's a bad thing in some ways because they don't know what they're doing, it means you can kind of train them up into how you want a relationship to be, you know, the best for you and stuff like that, you know, because they haven't got that expectations from previous relationships of what their previous ex liked. Whereas older people, they tend to have a lot of baggage, if you like, of exes and things that have gone wrong probably, and unhealthy habits and unhealthy emotional patterns and attachment styles. And so, you know, if you've got two people like that, it can get very bad. But, you know, some older people, like I said, are divorced as well. So you might have their ex as well. to worry about and think about, you know, and how much they're still in their life and all that type of thing, right? They may have kids, they may have pets with an ex and all this type of thing, right? And they might have like a lot of health problems. But having said that, you know, older people have a lot more experience of life. They can add a lot more insight into situations that come up in your life. If you're younger, they can be like a force for wisdom, a force for more stability and security, because the older person usually knows what they want more out of life. They're not going to play games usually. They're not going to mess you around usually, because they're like, they can't be bothered. They're like, I've done all that, maybe, or not, as the case might be. And they want to just have the more settled life, be in a more settled relationship. On the other hand, you have to understand that younger people, they might not have decided if they actually do want sex, marriage, or kids yet. So if you're an asexual person, the person might be, oh yeah, I don't need sex, but they haven't thought about that long term. They might just want a relationship and think about it for like a year or something, like, oh, well, I could go without sex for out a year or 2 years, but after that, they're going to want to move on to be with someone who can give them sex and maybe a family. Like, you've got to find out if they need kids and marriage as well, if you don't want that, right? Because all these things down the line are going to cause you more pain, heartache, and upset if they change their mind and want it down the line and you decide, no, I really don't want it, or you've already made your mind up. Now, older people might already have kids and they don't want any more, because it's like, I've had my time with kids. I'm not interested in being a mother anymore. And don't think just because an older person likes a younger person, they want to mother them. I personally do not want a younger guy for mothering at all. The opposite. I mean, I like it if the guy can cook for me and look after me, right? Do housework for me if he wants. Doesn't need to, but considering my health at the moment with my ankle, maybe a bit would be good. You know, so I'm still recovering. But my friend comes and does my food shopping for me and cleans my floors and hoovers, and they're amazing and love them lots. Of my friend. Hello if you're watching, and thank you so much. And they do some cooking sometimes and some washing up for me. So yeah, I really could do the guy who likes housework, to be honest. Which, you know, you would have thought an older woman likes doing that type of thing, but I'm really not like an older woman. Like I say, I know I'm into building websites, streaming, blogging, writing, YouTubing, you know, kind of young, fun, high octane energy stuff, right? Media stuff. And so, you know, I'm very different for people of my own birth certificate age. So I think you need to drop stereotypes and actually find out the truth of the person that you want to date or be in a relationship with, you know, their soul, their hobbies, their interests, their personality, their likes, their dislikes, their friends, their family. You know, you have to understand kind of what landscape you're going into before you go into it. So it's not a landslide, right? And you're going uphill with that person and growing together, not downhill with that person, if you know what I mean, figuratively speaking. So, you know, you both have to see if you're on the same hymn sheet with your goals, ambitions, and dreams. Like, are you both wanting to settle down in a relationship, serious, committed, or is one of you wanting to go around the world for a year, traveling, for example? If you want to settle down and the other person wants to go traveling, that's not going to work, right? Similarly, if that person's at a stage where they want kids now and you don't, that's not going to work, right? Or maybe you both want kids, but you want them at different ages in your life. That's not going to work. A and T World. Oh, hi. Nice to see you. So you've got to be asking yourself how it would work practically. Like, are your goals for growth in the relationship and as individual people, are they compatible? Are you both working towards like saving up for a house? Are you both working towards getting your careers sorted? Have you both got your careers sorted? Are you both working towards thinking, God, I really just want to settle down in a serious committed relationship now. I've done my traveling. I've done my single life. I really just want to be with someone now. If you've both got that kind of attitude, it's much more likely to work and be successful because you're both kind of wanting the same thing. If one person is very much still a party animal and not just a party animal, but you know, is seriously wanting to, you know, have a serious committed relationship and the other person isn't at that stage, it's not going to be very helpful. You know, it's not going to be a very healthy relationship. You're kind of going to fall apart quicker, right? So you both have to be having the same kind of goals, like, you know, career goals. Like, if one of you's not even settled in their career and they could possibly move countries to be with that person in another career, then it isn't going to work out, right? Because you're just going to have to, like, spend 5 years or whatever time they're studying together, and then they're just going to go off into another country and get a job elsewhere and have another life without you, basically. And you might be a type of person that likes those precious memories for a few years and then move on to someone else. But if you're not, if you're looking for a serious committed relationship, then you don't want to be getting into a relationship with this type of person, right? When I talk to younger guys, I ask them, like, are they just in the UK for study? Because a lot of them are just in the UK for study. That's it. They don't have any intention of staying here, and they want a serious relationship, they say. But how can they have a serious relationship? Well, they can't have a serious long-term relationship if they're going to be moving back into their own country, like 3 years' time or something, right? They might be serious at the time, but I would argue that they're not serious unless they're looking for something long-term, because they're not seriously committed to the relationship, because they know they're gonna have to leave that relationship in the end. To me, that's not being serious. To me, serious is being committed to the relationship and seeing that relationship through and wanting a future with that person for years to come, ideally forever, right? So for me personally, I don't want to get into a relationship with a younger guy who, like, 2 or 3 years down the line, he's just gonna be, oh, I got to go back to my own country now. Been nice and everything, you, thanks, bye, you know? I need a guy who's settled in the UK, who has his own right to stay here without marriage, and who, you know, really, really wants to be with an older girl, wants to be with me specifically, and really loves that type of relationship. They want the security, they want the stability. They don't want a younger girl who's just going to play games or mess around, not know what the frigging heck they want. They're going to want that kind of older kind of, like, vibe, in the sense that, oh yeah, this person knows what they want me, they can give me the love and care that I need and want. I'm not going to have to worry about if this person's playing games, because they just don't do that. They're going to be straight down the line with me. I know every time I talk to them that I'm going to get genuinely good, open, honest conversation, you know, because generally someone who's older, they've had more experience, they're usually more open to communication, more talkative, they're usually more worldly, they're usually less nervous about talking to people, they're usually more open, they're usually more honest, because they get to the stage in life where they just don't give a FC UK anymore, right? They're like, I can't be bothered to worry about what people think of me, and you know, and stress out about things. I'm just gonna be me and just gonna do me. And so an older person will tend to be like that. Like, when you're trying to talk to a younger person, it's very difficult sometimes, because, like, with Facebook dating, you know, I'm talking to guys and it's just like one word, like, oh, how was your day? If someone asks you how your day is, it's an opening for you to say how your day was, as in what you did during your day, how you found it. Did you speak to friends? Did you go to college? Did you, you know, did you like go for a soda somewhere? Did you go for a walk somewhere? How's your day is an opening for you to talk about your day, right? When I talk to guys on Facebook dating, I'm like, how's your day? They're good, you know, it's good. How's yours? It's just not a conversation. It's just like a few words back answer. It's not getting, I can't tell anything about the person like that. For me, that type of conversation is pretty useless. I like a guy to be able to ask me questions about myself, and then to actually talk about himself and what his day's been like and what he's getting up to. So I don't have to ask every 5 minutes. Otherwise, it's just like trying to drain blood out of a stone or something. It's just pretty impossible, right? So usually an older person would be a better communicator. However, I know some people in the asexual community who are older, who've got autism, who've got social anxiety, and so that can be really difficult for them, and they're not actually used to having many friends or used to socializing and used to talking. And obviously, if they are older, they've got into those habits and patterns of that way of life, and so they're not used to the full-on communication maybe that a younger person would be, because some younger people are open. They're like kind of like more extrovert, and they're like, you know, they're open, and they're like kind of like chatty and everything, and you know, and they might want to socialize a lot more. So if you're an older person that's not very sociable and you're looking for a younger person, but the younger person wants to be out partying a lot, going out with their mates, like socializing a lot, going out with you a lot, and you're just not up for that because you'd rather stay at home, then again, that's not really going to work out. So you need to be thinking like in terms of your actual lifestyle and your future as well. So your current lifestyle and your future lifestyle, and what you really want, like, and your ideal case scenario of what you want for a relationship, right? Because for me, like I said, it's no good me getting with a guy who wants kids because I don't want them. It's not because I've had kids of my own, because I don't. But, you know, like, an older person usually knows either they've had kids and they don't want them, Or some older women are like, I want them now because my biological clock's running out and the guy's not ready for it, or whatever gender. And then the woman's like, I've had my time, I never wanted kids, or decided not to have them for whatever reason, and I don't want another kid. Like, I don't want a younger guy or person for a kid to be like a kid, because I've had that option and I don't want it. I don't want to be a mother to anyone, especially not my partner, and I don't actually want kids, and maybe they do. So you've got to be thinking about this. But like I said, if you're an asexual person, you got to be thinking, like, do you want to be with another asexual? Could you be with a sexual person as well? So there's that element. And then obviously, have you got any fears or worries about having sex or sexual relationship with a younger or an older person? If so, what is that, and how would you overcome those fears or worries? Or are they just genuinely uncomfortabilities that you really don't like that age group, right? It's not for you, right? There is no problem with having different preferences. Like, I like younger guys, that is just my preference. I just don't get attracted to older guys, and that is how it is for me, right? So it's really, really important that you understand what you're letting yourself in for, that you've worked out are your hobbies, interests, goals, ambitions, and dreams are very similar or the same? Are your life goals the same? Do you see a future together with this person? Do they want marriage, sex, kids? Do they want to live together or not? Do they want, what's their family and friends going to say to you, your family and friends, their family and friends? How are things going to work in social situations? Are you going to be able to hang out with them and their friends? So, for example, I'm an older girl. Am I going to be able to hang out with the guy and his mates? Personally, for me, I know I could hang out with him and his mates, because I know loads of young guys like me, and most of the guys I talk to are in their 20s. So if a guy's got other guys in his 20s, I could hang out with all of them, and they probably wouldn't even, actually being in the same room, if they got to know me, they probably wouldn't even notice I'm much different to them, because I just like the same sort of lifestyle and the way things are, and I just into that vibe. But obviously, if a younger guy's going to introduce me to his mates, he's probably going to be quite nervous doing it, right? So he's got to get used to that type of life already and thinking that way. He should be telling his mates, like, I like an older girl, it's just the way it is for me, right? But, like I said, most people, they might criticize to begin with, and they'll be like, oh yeah, she's nice, she's hot, even though she's old, and they actually wish they had an older person themselves. And maybe it's because they haven't got the guts to actually step up to the plate and be with an older person. They're like, oh my, I wish I had the guts to be with her, because I really find her attractive, and so yeah, that's kind of the way it is. But yeah, so age gap love definitely can work. There are people that make it work, but you've got to have two people making it work, because don't forget, any relationship is a team effort. If you just got one person who wants a relationship far more than the other does, one person who's kind of hiding the other person away, it's just not going to work. I am older in birth certificate age, and I do not want a guy hiding me. I'm not interested in secrets, and being someone's blooming bit on the side, whether it's a sexual or asexual relationship with me, it would only be an asexual. I wouldn't be doing anything, like, I wouldn't be having sex, basically. So, I'm not interested in a guy who wants to hide me away or play small or can't speak up for himself. And, it's just like the guy's not going to be strong enough for me. So you have to be very super strong to be in any age gap relationship, and you have to be steadfast. You have to know exactly what you want. You have to be confident in the relationship, because if you're not confident in that relationship, people will use it to think that you are not suitable for each other, because something is wrong, because you're cowering, you're nervous, you're anxious, and they won't realize that's because of what what they think, the friends and family of you. They'll think it's because it's your partner. They'll think the worst. Every kind of negative emotion and negative thing that you are with your family and friends over this person, they're automatically going to think that it's that person making you be that way, and that person's wrong for you, even if it's the family and friends that are making you feel nervous. So you have to be the opposite of that. You have to be so damn confident. Say, look, I want to introduce you at the earliest possible opportunity, right? Video camera, perfect opportunity. Let your family and friends know about this person via video camera, because that is kind of a neutral thing to do, neutral territory, if you like, and it's kind of like an easy way to get the person to know that what your family and friends to know the person you've chosen. And it's kind of like, kind of a more cool, laid back setting. And you can kind of gather the, kind of like see the gist of how the relationship between your family and friends and them might work out. And just, it's really important to to just get to know the person and the family and friends of that person. But like I said, be confident, be bold, be beautiful, be brave. Do not cower. Please do not, because people automatically will think there's something wrong with your relationship with that person if you do these things. But if you're confident, you're strong in your decision, you can show that person makes you happy, you talk about that person in a very loving, confident way, you talk about them like they've really improved your life, you do say lots of positive stuff about that person, and you really show, not just tell, but show your family and friends how good they are for you. The family and friends should back down a lot more. Because if they want your happiness, if they truly want your happiness, if they're not like a jealous mother and stuff like that, which you might get, but if they're not a jealous mother, which don't have a jealous mother, it's not good for you, right? Then, then they should welcome that person, because if they love you, they want you to be happy, so they want someone else that can make you happy. And if that person makes you happy, then it's good, isn't it? So, just basically make sure that, you never ever give up on your dreams. And if you want to be with a younger or older person, you go for it. Life is too frigging short to care what people think, people. Lots of people around the world are losing their lives or having their life turned up in chaos because of the pandemic, because of illnesses and sickness and things that just go, they're having physical and mental difficulties. And life is so precious and short. So if you love someone, if you want to be with them, go and get them and be with them, and stop faffing around and wasting your time, right? Don't live with regret and look back on your deathbed going, oh, well, I could have been with that person. They were my ideal dream person. But, I was worried about what family and friends thought. And I was worried about things, and I just never took the opportunity, and I let them go from my life, and now I can't be with them. Do not be one of those people, right? See the opportunity in front of you. Grab it with both hands. Sometimes you have to take a risk and just go for it, right? Stop faffing around and get on with it, right? Just be bold, be brave, be confident, be you, and really think things through, but then go for it. And don't look back or hold back. Life is too freaking short, people. We never know if we're going to be here in the next second, let alone tomorrow. Don't waste your opportunity of a lifetime and a lifeline to live the love of your dreams. I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment below. Share this video with anyone you think may need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that great bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. Lots of love to you. I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.